That was awesome. Thank you, BJ. Welcome to the Blockchain Basement, a place where degenerate deep dives into the crypto market and unfiltered hot takes take place live. Basement after show for the live stream. My name is Drew. I am also known as Prepper Crypto, and we are joined with a fantastic group today. We got DZ joining us. Just got done with lunch, going to give us his sauce. We got Johnny Vibes. Me and him work a lot on the writing and kind of the production side for the live stream, ATB, and a lot of research. And we got Hannah joining us here. She'll be taking your questions and checking it all out. Obviously, today has been a little bit interesting.
Just leave me out. Fine.
BJ, there you are.
The bees.
BJ has joined us back in
cold-blooded. So cold-blooded.
Well, you know, I mean, you're just part of my. I feel like you're already here, but unspoken. That's my mistake for not bringing up the commando. Yeah, and DZ
yeah,
is.
He's been walking around with the gloves on.
we're kind of staying in.
Bear market, can't afford heat.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit grim out there. It's going to be cold on us, so ooh, that was fun. But basically, I was a little bit taken back that Gary Wang was arrested or brought into this whole FTX thing in a more hard-sided manner today. But today's show, you know, we found kind of an interesting look at some of the top Metaverse projects that we might want to be keeping an eye out on for 2023. We're going to be seeing some crypto market volatility that's coming in as whales begin to accumulate Bitcoin. BJ had an interesting hot take from an indicator he was looking at that's separate from everything else that we look at, that's saying that we're in for some extreme price action. Isn't that right, BJ? What do you think?
I still don't know because I'm still figuring out how the indicator works, but it apparently looks at bond market, general fiat, cross-currency arbitrage, and some other indicators. So, but it did a 30-point spike Wednesday, like around like midnight. And so typically something happens within 72 hours. And last time it had spike, or it rarely has spikes this hard. So we'll see. I mean, it's not 100% accurate. It's a predictive indicator that they're still testing.
Interesting. Okay. I forgot to mention the guys in the chat here. We got Crypto Thorn, The Matrix. We got Mr. Magoober. That's a nice name. Corey Hardin. What's up, man? White Rabbit. First time chatter. What is up? Not sure what the symbolization is there, but
Alice in Wonderland, right?
Is it?
I don't know.
Okay.
Follow the White Rabbit.
Dode Slave. So thank you guys for joining us. Send us your questions, anything that you're looking at. We can try to give our best take on it, but I kind of wanted to start it off by checking out this volatility that might be coming in from whales accumulating Bitcoin. We basically, you know, obviously calm waters do not last long in Bitcoin. It's been suspectly calm and amazing that we're holding this 16, 17 spot given all the chaos. But be prepared for a sharp move here shortly. The observer said, referring to the cryptocurrency's ultra low historical or realized price volatility. Goes into it a little bit here. So the tranquility may soon fade because Bitcoin's historical volatility hits levels last seen before the late 2020 bull run. And investors with ample capital supply began to accumulate coins. The quiet price action of the past month is illustrated by Bitcoin's low realized volatility, not counting the lead up to the FTX fallout. This is kind of what they're showing here. So basically in this graph, obviously you have the price, you have the accumulation zones highlighted here, but the volatility has just gone absolutely calm waters. And I don't know, in my history with Bitcoin, it's always the calm times that create really extreme price action, either up or down. So I found this article pretty interesting, kind of referencing to what BJ had said earlier this week about a potential, almost in my mind, what BJ kind of described as a potential for a black swan to push us down further lower. Blockchain Backer was on our live stream this morning and gave some really interesting looks at basically the potential decoupling of U.S. stock market and Bitcoin, which we've been talking about happening forever. And over the last month, maybe half month, it does look like we're beginning to go that route. but nothing is solid in that manner as of yet. But it just tells me that things are changing on us. I don't know quite what to expect over the next month. I don't feel like breaking down to 12K would happen unless we have a Genesis default or a GBTC fallout, which I'm definitely watching out for because that one's sketching me out. But yeah, basically the whales are accumulating here. And this price, basically this data shows accumulation by whales since BTC fell below the June low in early November. So yeah, I mean, basically we had this massive crash off here, and this is only paying attention to whale accumulations. And yeah, I mean, like over the past week, large or whale styled wallets have experienced an inflow of over 70,000 Bitcoin. Around 120,000 Bitcoin is accumulated at the $16,100 level, which offers that potential support given at the scale of buying. And that's kind of just, it's a good way to kind of encompass what I've been feeling like. I've seen this massive fall off, you know, obviously because FTX and Celsius, Terra Luna, and I feel like people are kind of numb to the bad news at this point, and who's here is kind of here. I don't imagine many people that are holding long term, they're in losses right now, are going to be selling for a loss moving in. But yeah, I mean, you guys may disagree with me. I love to hear what you guys think. What do you think about this graph? What is this info kind of telling you, D?
Tells me nothing. Tells me nothing. Go back to that graph. Pull it up.
Yeah.
Pull it up. So you see the blue dots and oh, that one's yeah, the blue dot one. Look at the accumulation right before the dump. So that makes me wonder, is the whale wallets removing exchange whale wallets? And it almost appears that they are not, because retail FOMO's in, the amount of Bitcoin on a Coinbase, the amount of Bitcoin on a Binance, the amount of coins on any of these exchanges are going to be spiked. And so I'm wondering if those blue dots at the top represent Binance's wallets, Coinbase's wallets accumulating more. And so it really isn't really saying much, if I'm going to be honest.
And you can see the
here.
timeline at the bottom, because that was kind of hard to see, the October.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, shoot. I thought that was the 60K top.
No.
Or
No.
70.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can see on the right, the 22. Okay, because that looks similar to, yeah, that's way too hard of a crash for the November to January.
Right.
Oh, okay, well, I take back everything that I just said.
Yeah, that is bad
But that does say,
design.
like, whales don't know what the hell they're doing, because you see them, they're buying, and then what happens? You know, ends up falling. Now, that means they didn't predict, you know, that was the FTX collapse. That's what that collapse is signifying.
Yeah.
But it just shows you, like, whales don't know. You know, are they smarter than the minnows? Sure, but, you know, that's like saying I'm smarter than a second grader. It doesn't really mean much.
Yeah, Kathy Wood was doing all that buying right after the collapse, and she's pretty well in the red at this point with ARK. So I tried to take that as like, oh, this is a bottom because the big companies are buying, but she has a horrible track record of, you know, kind of making the right moves. I think I saw her doing large purchases at like 60K Bitcoin, everything like that. She's calling for $1 million. So yeah, I mean, like in essence, like I just feel like we're in this very flatlined, you know, loss of velocity kind of moment right now. And everyone's been watching the Fed so closely, trying to wait for the printer to come back on. We're probably going to have a long time until that day comes, if it even comes in 2023. I mean, like right now, it's kind of like there's another.
Isn't there some ominous bill coming up soon?
Yeah, the ominous spending bill. It's 1.7
omnibus.
Omnibus.
Said ominous.
$1.7 million or $1 trillion package, 4,000 page document to be approved in 24 hours, because our legislators love us so much to actually read what they're signing off our tax dollars into. Lots of payments into the military industrial complex within that bill. So yeah, I mean, like we have no plan of actually stopping this printing other than just continually raising rates. And we're actually raising rates at the highest velocity, I believe, in the Fed's history. I want to show you guys this. I'm going to click into this Twitter graph here just to kind of paint a picture of what this velocity looks like. Check this out. So the Fed is hiking further and faster than any time in modern history. And what we have here, I believe so right here is the big one. This is the one I always pay attention to. This is after the 70s energy crisis. inflation was out of control, so they had to raise rates pretty aggressively. In the 80s, we got up to a 16 or 17% Fed funding rate, and we're just for comparison, we're at a I think it's 7.5 right now, and look how fast and heavy we had to go to get there in this recent situation. All these other ones, this is a lead up into the housing crisis, but this is the fastest and hardest that we have ever raised Fed fund rates. And I hope that they have a chance to be able to implement quantitative easing just through the necessity of, keeping our economy strong. But I mean, this is something that they've never done before. They've never moved this hard and heavy on these rate hikes with continuous 75 base point hikes. So it's kind of sketchy out there. It doesn't make me feel great about.
This is like Johnny Sin's economics right now.
Johnny Sin's economics. That's right. That's right. I don't know. I mean, this is definitely worrisome for like any chance of quantitative easing to come back in general. Like, I just don't see it. I mean, what do you guys think? Anyone have a hot take? Like, do you think that the Fed will have any ability to slow the gas pedal on these hikes or to an actual quantitative easing moment, or are we just going to accept that lessened hike schedule as our time for fun?
What do you say, Johnny?
Yeah, you got an opinion over there.
Well, I kind of worry about the Fed overshooting, what they're doing already, and the slingshot effect, and how that's going to affect the economy, going forward. They already started off by saying that, this was going to be relatively minor, it was transitory, blah blah blah, and yet here we are, still raising rates. So it'd be interesting to see what happens to the lower spectrum of the economy on the slingshot effect of everything that's going on. But as far as like when they plan on easing things off, I think we're headed in the right direction. But you never know what can pop up between now and 6 months.
Right. Like some in my mind's like, I don't know. Obviously, Bitcoin's never had a true recession that's existed in, so it's hard to kind of quantify what Bitcoin's going to do in this situation. I'm looking at more of the war industrial complex of the U.S. and kind of the situation we are in right now. I don't really see an ability for them to kill off or to really stave our economy and bring our valuations down low enough to fight the inflation like they want to, because of the need to keep the economy going, keep the relationship with the EU strong in that trade. So, I mean, if we didn't have that kind of requirement right now within the geopolitical realm, I think we'd have more of an ability. But yeah, I mean, I think that the Treasury and what Janet Yellen has been doing with the bond buybacks is probably going to be going on while we're having rate hike increases. So in my mind, it's kind of a confusing situation where you have Treasury buyback programs that are injecting liquidity, but then the Fed on the other side bringing down the market, trying to stave the job growth. So it's definitely a relationship that's pretty odd to imagine. And DZ, like, what do you feel? Do you feel like the stock market is going to stay beaten down all 2023? Like, what are you thinking the Fed is going to do to this market?
Well, it seems like the smart people are saying it's going to look rough for about 3 quarters. So, first 9 months of 23, probably going to be pretty painful. We have Elon, he kind of called the top. I don't want to say called the top. He sold into the top in 21, and he just recently sold billions of dollars more. So, just by going by that prediction, it probably isn't going to look good for next 6 to 9 months. I'd actually, about a month ago, I fired up my Robinhood app and actually bought some stocks for the first time in probably 4 years.
Yeah.
I had sold out of all of them, put them into crypto, put it into Doge, rode Doge up, then turned that Doge into ETH and got out, a pretty good time. Zero money on my Robinhood for years, or about over a year. And now I almost regret, like, man, I feel like I jumped into the stock market a little too early. I do think there's some attractive stocks. I don't have the time or the patience to research like that. But I am slowly just going to DCA into the stock market. Probably in a month or two, I might start again. And you can't ever call the exact bottom, but what you can do is scale in. And I think the next 9 months should be able to maybe catch the bottom if you just scale in slightly regularly.
Oh, that's totally, and it's funny that you mentioned kind of looking at stocks again. Like, I have kind of the same mind, seeing how beat down some of these companies are right now. they offer a really good return if they come back and, you know, exist in a stronger way when the economy takes
Yeah,
a turn
dividends
around.
are really attractive
Right.
for you know, investment for a bear market. And those watching at home, you know, the way dividends work with the stock is Facebook or Meta, you know, they might make money and then they'll return their profits to their shareholders. And there's strong, attractive stocks that you can get at a discount right now that are going to pay 3, 4, possibly even 5%. You
Right.
go into REITs, it gets up to even closer to 10%. And we're not talking about UST yield. We're talking about a company that has revenue that is then passing profits that they make to you, you know, that are invested in it. So during a bear market, you're watching crypto, you're watching your altcoins bleed 90%,
Right.
where you might have a stock that bleeds, you know, a little bit less or a lot less, but it's paying you and it's paying you regularly.
That is
So
pretty cool.
I want to get in a little bit of that passive income from the stock market because we all got high on our own supply and thought, you know, yeah, 10, 20%, that's just a normal thing in crypto. That's why we're so much better. And then you end up getting wrecked because
Right.
that's not sustainable.
Yeah, and scaling into altcoins, like, I mean, there's only very few that I'm just slightly doing. Like for buying
I have
crypto,
like 5 that I'm buying now.
yeah, like I've pared it down to. I saw your comment on my. I had to make sure it was the real DZ. He
Yeah.
dropped a comment on my TikTok.
Yeah,
the other
Ada,
night.
Cody, Algorand, you know, I'll share some of them here.
Right. Yeah, I didn't. I'm the same way, like keeping it like Ada, XRP,
DAG, we both
DAG.
like DAG. DAG has like some military connections.
I like DAG. You know, the Pentagon has put out hints of their communication system upgrades exactly as DAG is going through Operation Iron Spider, or Project Iron Spider, which is encrypted data communication between machines. Completely, it's called non-linear blockchain, so it's not connected to the whole system, and it creates a good fail-safe. So anyone trying to hack it is held back. That's why I like it. But I'm waiting for a confirmed uptrend before I start doing any more kind of riskier, high risk plays. And I was kind of actually thinking the same timeline, like starting to look at those in October of 23. Let 2023 be a painful sideways year of accumulating the things that I really like Bitcoin. You know, I'm building out some farm area. I'm going to put some sheep down. I'm going to do other
Someone's
things.
asking about precious metals.
Yeah.
Where are we all feeling? Johnny, you're big on gold, right? You think gold's an attractive investment, maybe outside of aesthetics?
I like gold, but not because of its scarcity reasons. You know, I don't really think that gold's all that scarce, but you know, it's obviously been around for quite a long time. It's, you know, holds its weight value. So
Right.
you know, I think that there's definitely something to be said. I mean, even if you were to, you know, I was actually contemplating to seeing where gold was at during the next top of the bull run.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll turn my Bitcoin into gold for a little bit and wait for it to come back down to some more reasonable prices during that time.
Yeah.
Are people still discussing how Russia and China are buying a lot, and then how Russia was no longer going to accept USD for oil and just do gold? Like, is that still a relevant
It's a big
conversation?
deal, and it's
Yeah.
very relevant. I don't think people understand the ramifications of that story playing out, though, fully. You know, the idea of an entire transition from a world reserve currency that we've known as the US dollar being challenged by Russia and China in regards to them stacking gold and creating, you know, payments outside of the US dollar for their oil. Oil is a huge market. And I think that I pay really close attention to that. But when I bring it up, a lot of people, that's something that really hasn't been discussed much. I think it's going to end up being actually what BJ is talking about. I think is going to end up being a technological and financial arms race between BRICS and NATO. You know, and I've been watching BRICS for I think 2 years, 3 years now. People are finally starting to talk about it. And it's more recognizable, especially since Saudi Arabia just joined and OPEC just did what they did on the oil production caps. Russia's not going to be selling, or Germany's not going to be buying from Russia, but then Russia's also not interested in selling any oil to any countries that have price caps. It's a very simple sentence. We will not send to any country with price caps, but the ramifications of that are insane because they produce a large amount of the world energy. So, yeah, I mean, I think that should be more heavily discussed. And for gold, like I love gold. Okay, what can I say?
gold.
But yeah, like I basically I always like to take my profits from crypto and then put it straight into JM Bullion for bullion gold bars. Bullion gold bars have sold amazing for me when I have them. The gold shops love them. All you need is an assay card. They do a quick verification. They give you a little bit overage on the actual sell of it. So a lot of people have this misconception that you lose money in transit or something with gold. The thing about gold is that it didn't perform as good as gold bugs were hoping during the COVID crash. Everyone thought that, oh, we have to redo the financial structure and we're going to go to gold backed and this is going to be great. It topped at 1900 and then crashed well before the stock market or crypto crashed. So catching the top of gold, is kind of tough, but if you hold it for long term, I don't see any danger in holding gold. Yeah, we could get an asteroid full of gold, but imagine the cost of the operation to harness an asteroid full of gold. Like that would be a really expensive endeavor. I see a lot of people asking about the housing market. DZ, you and me just got into this. Johnny's wrapped into the housing market, dealing with it in Arizona. What are your guys' thoughts on, is the housing market going to hold in general? Will there be certain areas that are going to crash further?
Well, it's important for a little context here. We're coming out of the '08 housing crisis, and a lot of people, they have this idea of the housing crisis was this terrible, terrible thing, and it was really bad. And giving all these loans to people that they couldn't pay was not a good thing. But the prices only fell about 30%, and that is a whole lot in traditional markets. But if you're watching this, you like crypto, and so when you're hearing 30%, it really doesn't sound like that much.
Yeah.
And so the question is, will our downturn be equal to or less than or greater than 30%? So that's the next question. And I'm kind of I tend to think that it might be below 30%. And the reason is BlackRock and Airbnb creating buying pressure. And we're not going to have the tremendous selling pressure of everyone just, oh, I got to flip this house. I have this mortgage I can't afford. We know we're going to be in an apartment complex in 6 months. I got to dump this house. I got to dump this house. Oh my God, the neighbor just lowered the price. I'm lowering my price. He lowered in response. I'm lowering in response, in response, in response. Yep. And we're not going to have that as much because Airbnb, BlackRock. So in the long run, BlackRock buying all those houses are going to be what keeps it from falling as far. I'm not trying to defend them, but that's just, there's going to be a yin to the yang there. So thank you, BlackRock. Drew's forum.
I had to fight against a lot of cash investors really recently I purchased a house in like February. I had to go, I think like 40K over asking price I had to do like a half down, you had to do half down to even be heard. Johnny, I know you're dealing with that house in Arizona. What are you seeing in the markets? What are you dealing with your house?
So right now I'm just dealing with with the rental market. I got in like right before, like probably like a month or two before COVID actually hit. So I got in excellent time, and I'm planned on just hanging on to the house because I got such a low interest rate. I don't feel like even with the amount of profit, and it's, trust me, I almost doubled my what I put into, obviously, if I were to sell, but it doesn't negate the amount of interest that I would be paying in an increased interest rate over those 20, 30 years. I think it was 30 year lease. So I put it on the market for rental, and that's been a little bit slow. And I think I just read too on one of these financial things that the housing market overall is, I think, like all the builders are canceling a lot of their contracts, down 7% just in the past month. So
I will say this immigrant wave coming in is hugely bullish for the housing market. It's going to be a lot more attractive to build a house now, because right now it's almost not competitive to build a house.
That's an interesting point.
You're looking at, oh my God, by the time we're done, housing prices might fall an extra 10%. I might actually end up losing money buying a parcel of land, building a house there myself, buying all the parts, and then, trying to sell it to retail. You might actually end up losing money. And part of the reason is labor issues across America when it comes to construction areas. And this migrant explosion that we're going to have is actually in the long run going to bring down housing prices, specifically for construction and construction for new homes, which is good. You do want that.
And then one of the things that you had mentioned about the 2008, one of the big factors for that 30% crash was adjustable adjustable rate mortgages.
And the good thing is we got
we don't have that
smarter
now.
because of that. Did you do adjustable rate?
No, I didn't.
Hell no.
Yep.
Heck
So-
no. Why? Because we learned lessons. I was too young to, I was maybe if I was had my ducks in a row a little bit better, I could afford a house there. But
my age.
yeah, we saw that and we are like, oh my God, I would never sign an adjustable rate mortgage because I saw what happened during 08. And so it sounds like you're the same. You're the same. Now, give it another 10, 20 years, they'll probably bring them back.
Man, I mean that I used to work as a in the hiring or management side for commercial and residential, large residential construction. And what I am hearing from my contacts in that field is it is an absolute nightmare finding people that actually have initiative to, work hard. I mean, it's not fun work doing high-rise buildings or large, multifamily developments. That is really difficult. And so they were having trouble before COVID and all that stuff. After COVID, it was basically like pulling teeth to be able to fill a job site full of people. Developers were losing funding across the board. Billions of dollars were wiped away from future development plans from companies. My job just went poof overnight because there was no manpower to actually get the projects done. Plus, they didn't have an outlook for the money or cash flow to be able to build forward, expecting returns in the future. So that was pretty interesting watching it from my perspective. So I don't know. And on the losses in real estate, I feel like this is just my personal opinion, but I feel like the large city centers with high crime rates right now, things of that nature, are going to have a little bit more correction to do on the downside. And, more rural, separated suburban areas are going to be a little bit more insulated from that downside. That's just in my personal opinion. From workplace ability, upper echelon managers don't necessarily have to be in the office all the time, every time. Even though, workers are definitely back in the office, the upper echelon are still taking advantage of that work from home aspect.
Now, here's a big question. So there's, during the 2020 summer, there's tons of riots, and those riots were primarily in large cities.
Yeah.
And you saw a huge exodus of city dwellers moving to the suburbs.
Yep.
Do you think that they'll ever move back to the city, or are these people scorned forever on cities? I'm leaning towards, I don't know if they'll ever go back.
I wouldn't.
I have
think they
zero
would.
desire to live in downtown Atlanta.
Right.
Absolutely
Suburbs?
freaking zero.
Well, nobody lives downtown Atlanta.
Suburbs around here, suburbs are going crazy. Like the county that I'm from is one of the fastest growing in the nation. I just think the suburbs are going to grow.
Yeah.
Gonna
What's your
grow and
county? I'm
grow.
Paulding.
Gwinnett.
Okay.
Chico.
I'm Paulding too. I see them building. They're still selling houses. I mean, there's a couple houses that aren't renovated or redone that have sat on the market for, since I've gotten there. But the ones that are rehashed and, kind of redone have sold. So I'm
Cobb
still
in the
seeing.
house.
Yeah. I mean,
We're in
there's
Cobb right now. We're in
Yeah.
Cobb.
Cobb County, we're in Kennesaw.
what? Who's in Manawak's in Cobb?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
What
This
up,
is
what up?
awesome.
Miles
I wanna
gotta
talk
leave
really
Fulton County
quick.
over here.
Yeah, you only want Fulton.
Real quick
He's in the hood
about
county.
comment. He said he's an engineer at a company and they make CLT, that's cross laminated timber,
Mm.
and they use it for matting in the infrastructure field. We're transferring it over to structural and we will be able to build houses out of it. You can put up a house in a
That's
week.
going to be huge.
Yeah, so, like, we're
I'm
talking
waiting for
about-
it now. You're going to have people live in these houses for an extended period of time before people are going to be comfortable with it.
Mm.
You're poor, you can only afford a tiny home or a crappy trailer. Yeah, sign me up, print my wall, print my bathtub.
Mhm.
But most people are going to be uncomfortable until they see these domiciles exist for 5-10 years. Okay, it didn't blow over. The hurricane didn't knock it over. It isn't like the wolf came and if,
It's-
you're sitting there crapping and the walls fall down and the neighbors are looking at you poop. You want to make sure that's not going to happen before people are going to be comfortable with a huge life decision. Like, let me put my family in this thing.
Yeah,
totally
okay,
fair.
but I think
I'm bullish on them working, but people
Yeah.
are going to want to see them 5-10
Yeah.
years later.
bullish long term for sure, because that's going to solve a lot of the problems. The tired workers that don't want to show up to work and do their job half-assed, and the houses are not what you were paying. You're not paying $600,000 expecting it to be like that. Like, you're unhappy with the labor. So that's going to solve a lot of those problems, but it's going to take time and it's going to take a lot of jobs.
Yeah.
But
And a sentiment shift. I think we got to get back to work as in general. The flu season's going to be here for a while. It's going to be an ongoing thing. We got to figure out a way to move forward. I am not ready to get
Now,
into
how
the
do we get
coffin.
people back to work? Last number I heard, there's 7 million American males able to work who just aren't.
Dude,
how are people? How are they living? Like, how do you eat? I don't get it.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of. I mean, it's hard to imagine what they're doing. I'd imagine a lot of public programs that were rolled out during flu season are still in
I think
place
a lot of
to a
just living
degree.
off their parents. You know?
That's another
Crazy.
thing. There's a lot that have moved back into their parents, and I mean, it's twofold. I can understand it's hard to make an entry into real estate, but real estate is one of the things I am super, super focused on always being a part of. It is my absolute mission in life to not myself end up in the permanent renters class and to not let my children fall into the permanent renters class. So I'm hell bent on owning multiple homes.
Yeah, and with the fixed income, there are ways around that. It's just kind of briefly give Kiyosaki advice here. You're just gonna have to work on getting some assets that make money while you're asleep, and you could start with $100 earning you $1 a month. There's plenty of resources online. You can look this stuff up, but you just slowly and steadily just try to get into an framework of ownership. To his point, you get out of that renter class. You don't have to own a house or own an apartment building and you're renting it out, but you can own assets that make money. Kind of like what I was saying earlier with the stocks that pay a dividend. You put in $100, you might only get $3 a year, but it will slowly start to snowball. And then you just got to look at the power of compound interest. Maybe you're going to be Warren Buffett's age before you're very financially secure. But maybe you make some extra sacrifices and it happens in your Bill Gates age or DZ's age or Johnny's age. Maybe one day you'll be Hannah's age, but that's like that 14-year-old kid in high school selling M&Ms and like saving every dollar.
I hustle Gatorades, buy the 24-pack, sell them.
Reddit has a good resource, the FIRE, Financially Independent and Retire Early. So you can look at a lot of that stuff.
Absolutely. It's huge. And I like looking at real estate because, I've been in crypto for a while, but real estate has honestly made me a really good return. Like it's been amazing to be a part of real estate. Ooh, what kind of kicks you got there?
Kyries. I didn't know that till someone else that works here, who used to work here, was like, "Oh, you got Kyries."
It just rang a bell who Manawak is. I totally met you. You met my daughter here in the Hit Studio.
Now, Drew, what's the cheapest real estate play to get exposure to? Would it be a parcel of land and you put a trailer on it and you rent it out?
Yeah, I think so. A parcel of land and building your own tiny home would be the absolute cheapest way. You can process wood, you can pour your own concrete. If you're physically able, I think that the absolute move right now would be to buy a parcel of land that doesn't have an HOA that you can set up what you want on, and then take the time, live in a trailer as you build a tiny house and build a few of them, build up a few.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe start with two.
Right.
When you just instantly start renting out the other one as you move into the other.
Exactly. And what were you going to say?
Sorry. My mom, I just wanted to cut in really quick, is literally doing this. They are buying shipping containers and turning them into houses. They have a piece of land. They cut down all the trees.
Now, are they buying a little bit rural, or are they getting a good deal on the land?
Yeah. So actually, it was land owned by somebody else. He was like, "I'm gonna lend this to you because I'm not doing anything with it right now. You can fix it." So they got rid of all the trees. They're getting the shipping container right now. They're gonna live in it, and they're gonna put a few other ones on it and rent them out to people as storage.
That's awesome.
They're building a house because they just got married.
That's innovative thinking. That's
building.
That's moving in an innovative way. And I think that, a lot of people that are already in and well off in real estate are thinking these things that Hannah just described. And when I'm looking around, I feel like land is going to be just as scarce as Bitcoin in 50 years. I don't know. We have a huge population growth curve going on. And, I think that buildable / built upon land is going to be one of the most sought after resources for decades to come. But that's, again, just my own personal opinion on that. But obviously we had Caroline and Gary Wang plead guilty to the Department of Justice today for fraud charges.
I like that hard pivot.
Yeah.
I know. I could go on for days about it, but basically, here's Sam. Obviously, you can see.
Well, you could have said, well, speaking of tiny homes, that was, I do this all day. I do this all day. I'll be here all day.
I dig it. Former Alameda Research CEO Caroline Ellison and FTX founder Gary Wang, this guy, pleaded guilty to charges tied to FTX collapse. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams announced Wednesday. And so basically the US SEC and the CFTC also announced charges against these two, saying that Ellison manipulated the price of FTT, an exchange token issued by FTX. The duo were cooperating with investigators, singing like birds. That's probably why Caroline was given photo ops in the coffee shop in New York. I think it was last week, given a heads up, she's ready to talk. U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York did not specify what they were being charged with, and court records are not immediately available. SBF's charged with 8 crimes by the SDNY earlier this month, and he's been arrested, obviously, in Nassau. Sounds like he's flying back to the U.S. They hooked him up with a little bit of vegan special diet out there, and he had many special requests granted to him. But the charges include, laundering, wire fraud, securities fraud, campaign finance violations. Now this, it really gets my goat going because, these things have been happening for years and we're still dealing with the ramifications of it. He's being extradited to the U.S. and Williams confirmed in his statement saying that the FTX founder was in FBI custody and would appear in court as soon as possible. So what do you guys think? What is your opinion on this? Anyone can speak up, but do you think that we are going to see Sam be the absolute focal point fall guy for these charges and a lesser charges or stint given to Gary Wang and Caroline from them moving and kind of talking to the DOJ about the situation in general?
Oh yeah, they flip first, so they're going to get the sweetheart deal.
You think?
Oh yeah, that's just how it works.
Johnny, give us your take. You know this stuff. You're basically a lawyer.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly what Dee said. The first people to talk, they're obviously already out right now. I'm sure if there was ever a plan, that wasn't in it. So, I think that he's possibly looking at being the fall guy for everything that transpired over at FTX. But again, that all has to do with what he's going to say because, once these guys start really looking at having to sit in a room for X amount of years, reality starts to hit.
It's going to be hard for him to say much when he's asphyxiated.
Oh, God. You think he's going to get Epstein?
Epstein.
Epstein? What do you think? Is that your thing? You think it, BJ? I think it'd be too obvious.
I don't think so.
It'd be too obvious.
I mean, I just think it's interesting that when we were down in the Bahamas, like his parents absolutely were not at that hearing, and I think they have absolute culpability. So it's like that rings bells of like why they weren't there, and it's like he's.
Well, let me ask you guys a question: who knows more dirty laundry about politics, SBF or SBF's mom, BJ?
Oh,
his mom.
His mom.
Yeah,
his mom. So I don't think SBF.
She was on an quote unquote ethics committee. Like, come on.
Yeah, she was one of the largest raisers of money, with her super PACs of, secret dark money. The amount of information that she has in her brain compared to what, SBF has in his brain, he probably has a very surface level understanding of, this super PAC got money and it's helping this candidate and yada, yada. It's probably not nearly as much or the things that the SBF's mother knows would be, enough to whack somebody, but she's part of the elite. And so they're not going to.
Would she sacrifice her son?
She totally is. She totally is. She's sending him right under the bus.
Well, I don't think it's a sacrifice. It's like, all right, we know it's over. He's done. His goose is cooked. Now let's just cook it with a good recipe. That's all it is. They're not like pushing their son in front of the bus like, oh my God, I'm so happy he got hit. He's tied to the road and the bus is coming, and they're just trying to navigate a way where only his leg gets ran over. They're not pushing him in front of the bus. They're trying to pull him out where he only walks away with a minor injury.
Will SBF's brother's connection to the flu season funding ever come out?
That is such a scary narrative because it looks like he received $100 million of FTX customers' funds to push this this muzzle mandate, and I'm calling it a muzzle mandate. At this point. It's literally a muzzle. Think of the metaphor of you're putting a muzzle over your mouth over what you use to speak and give information.
Yep.
No. Let me just say it. No left-leaning publication or news organization is going to be comfortable exposing that customer money went to COVID relief programs. And because that is such a counter to their narrative, they just won't even bring it up. Tucker Carlson might, but that'll be probably about it.
Well, and nobody cared when the the life insurance agencies came out with their data on how
Yeah,
many life insurance
that.
policies they're having to pay out lately. Like it spiked by 40% over 1 year in 2021.
It just got Celine Dion.
Nobody cared.
Just got Celine Dion.
It did?
Yeah.
Don't tell me Celine's down.
No, she has a rare neurological disorder that affects only 1 in a million people, but it happens to be a side effect of the vaccine.
What,
No
Guillain-Barré?
I
Or it
don't-
looks like Jillian Barre, but I think it's pronounced Guillain-Barré.
You don't hear
Whoa.
that?
Sounds like that. Yeah, I mean Celine Dion, she's like super rare, only 1 in a million. It just happens to be a side effect, and she happened to get it.
I
After
mean, if
she
you
got
guys are talking
vaccinated.
about random
Sucks.
investments to make, I've been
My heart
telling-
will go on.
Yeah, well, not necessarily with
I
myocarditis.
I didn't get it, so it will.
But yeah, if you guys are looking for alternate investments, like some of the main things, like I've actually been investing in, are a lot of these anticoagulant companies that aren't necessarily the big one. There's 4 other ones, but I would highly look into those.
I'll wait
like,
for Nancy to invest.
Yeah,
or,
well, no,
what's
I
the
mean-
guy with one eye?
people are.
He
It's-
beats Nancy at trading. I forget his. Dan Crenshaw. I used to live in his jurisdiction.
Oh my
during his-
gosh. The one-eyed bandit.
Oh, he
Okay.
looks like the guy from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, he's like number 2 out
Number
of all
2.
stock traders in the house.
like number
the
2.
top 5 are Republicans. Nancy always gets the flack. She's like number 6. The top 5 are Republicans. It's always frustrating when you hear people point at the other side and like, look how dirty they are. No, it's we. It's we.
They're both dirty.
Well, the SEC's also got themselves in a pickle with receiving funds that may be questionable. As we broke on the live stream, kind of breaking news, we had a Stuart Alderati came out with this. The SEC admits that the FTX customer assets were used to bail out BlockFi. So were those customer assets funneled to the SEC to make payments of the $100 million SEC BlockFi settlement? Or did the SEC bother to conduct any due diligence on the source of these funds? This
Well, the first. What's the second word there?
second word,
A third word.
admits.
That's not language you would use. SEC
Right.
can't admit anything.
Right.
SEC is saying that this is happening, but yeah, it's just already. I don't trust Stewart.
You don't
Weird-
trust
weird
Stuart?
language.
Okay. And, he's definitely put out some claims. He's a XRP legal counsel.
I actually got to go. I got to send Ada for the junkies, and I got to do stuff. Ada
Okay.
got sucked into the basement. Basement has been real.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye.
Thanks for he's
Don't
going
get
to
Epstein.
he's going to take care of the
No.
NFT community. That's
GZ's
right.
going to save NFTs.
That's right, man. But yeah, I mean, like, I don't know, there's a potential that the SEC could experience a clawback with the FTX funds they received. If this does come to fruition, God, I hope Tom Emmer grabs onto this like a pit bull, because this could I really want to see Gary Gensler out of the SEC. That would be the great next step in clearing out the path for the cryptocurrency markets in general to revive, to stay on the decentralization path that we want, to not be called all securities and push offshore into separate countries outside of the US. So I am hopeful that what this guy Stewart is saying about the SEC knowingly receiving these customer assets from FTX to bail out BlockFi, as bad as it is for the BlockFi resurgence, I feel like it is super, super important that we pay attention to what has been done by the SEC, the no action relief that the SEC gave to Sam and FTX, essentially saying we're going to completely leave you alone. We're going to turn a blind eye. We'll readdress this in a few years.
Culpability.
Yeah, I mean, what is that? Like, you can't just, admittedly give this guy a free pass and then have this thing blow up in your face and not face ramifications. You are supposed to be the guy in control of these things. So, yes, I am hopeful that this comes back. Do you think anything's going to come of this, Johnny?
I would like to think so, but it's hard to say with any of these officials be held accountable. I hold very little hope in those.
Well, that's why I'm all about the techno tea party, Johnny. Okay. Like, I'm a huge advocate of capital flight. If you don't know what capital flight is, it's the thing that the governments fear the most. They don't fear you and your weapons and all that stuff as much as they fear capital flight and losing the velocity of their fiat controlled dollar to a system outside of what they control. That's why I'm a huge proponent of the techno tea party. It's a term that I created last week, and you're welcome to join me.
The
because-
TTT.
Yeah, the TTT. Come on, get
T
down with
squared.
the TTT. That's what I'm saying.
I'm sorry, T cubed.
Tech note.
Yeah.
TP.
But you know, when we do see that confirmed uptrend, I know it's coming. It's looking ugly right now, but essentially I feel like this is just the ebb and flow of the markets correcting. They're dealing with a cool off period, and when the time does that we see a confirmation, I'll likely be looking at, you know, some interesting metaverse related projects, as long as they're looking stable and ready to pop by the time they come. Glad we have Johnny, and potentially even DZ will have some hot takes on this, because I want to check this out. An article that basically kind of highlighting the top 5 metaverse coins set to explode in 2023. And now I don't think that all of these are set to explode. I looked at the list. I got a couple questions, but basically, you know, it's setting a stage looking at ApeCoin, which is one of the very few projects that I'm interested in general with the metaverse, because of the large backers they have. See the community super involved with it. And I try to stay very standoffish on these projects, but I actually, you know, have moved into ApeCoin. I made a little bit of money with it before we had this super great crash. But, you know, amid the ongoing bear trend, the ApeCoin price tumbled 90.45% from its all-time high. Over the past 7 months, the coin has showcased a steady under the influence of descending trend lines, basically just a big downward price action. By the press time, Ape trades at, you know, 3.6 mark and gradually approaches the overhead trend line. Bullish breakout from this dynamic resistance could drive the prices 150% higher and hit the $9.16 mark. DZ, give me your insight on an ApeCoin. You know, I
don't purchase any ape until staking rewards are over. I'm not sure when that is. It's months from now.
Okay.
Right now, there's an ape drip happening. All these people are staking their ape. Once that runs out, I expect selling pressure to cease. And then, you know, that's when you're going to see some bullish action. But ApeCoin is very, very strange and hard to predict, because, yeah, sure, right now they're just printing ape. They're not printing, but they have a bunch of ape locked away, and people who are staking their mutants and their apes and their dogs, and, you know, in combination, they're getting all this ape every single day. It's happening. It's going to happen for the next couple months. So that's a lot of selling pressure. And so that's why I'm not recommending it as a buy right now. I kind of want to wait. But that doesn't mean that they can't tweet some bullish thing tomorrow,
Right.
and it goes up, you know, that 150% in a matter of like 4 days.
Right.
Ape it's so hard to predict, because Yuga is really like a thought leader and industry leader in the space. And, you know, if you saw what they did with the Activision COO that they just brought on as the Yuga CEO, they have the potential to make very, very serious moves. They have a huge war chest. So the things that Ape can do could be, I would equate closer to a Doge. Like,
Okay,
it could just
okay.
rip out of nowhere. So don't take my, like, if you really, really, really want it, you know, yeah, maybe scale in a little bit here. But I'm saying it probably will go down.
Interesting. And I wonder when that staking gets unlocked.
Yeah,
We're
you
gonna
gotta
have
use
to,
a VPN if you're in the US.
yeah. We got to look at when that staking gets unlocked, though. Is there? We got to look into that to figure out that timeline. That'd be really interesting if it comes out in like October of 23 or something like that, lining up.
Is that just ask Taco?
Just ask
Yeah,
Taco.
Taco and Justin are staking their ape. I haven't pulled the trigger yet, because kind of want to wait. I almost feel like it's going to go down. Then I kind of want to buy some and then just do all
Yeah.
do it all at once.
Yeah.
Because it's a huge pain in the butt. I don't like firing up the VPN.
Yeah, and when I see an uptrend, it's definitely something that I'm going to be looking at as far as just my metaverse bag. You know, and the next one that this article is highlighting is Theta Network. Basically, Theta coin has witnessed steady downfall, obviously, since April 2021. All-time high is $15.90. The prices have tumbled 95%. Brutal. Wrecktown. Currently trading at 77 cents. The past 7 months, Theta's price has mainly traded in sideways rally, indicating that the bearish momentum is getting exhausted. If the prices manage to sustain above that 82-cent mark, or a 57% support, potential recovery cycle may lead to this coin at the $1.70 mark by mid 2023. Definitely looking heavily beat down. Now, something I remember about Theta is a lot of connections to streaming, and I remember a strong or just a potential lining up with Sony. And a lot of it made sense to me for, moving into basically streaming video content or movie things, just visual kind of metaverse content. What are your guys' take on this? Because I'm still really standoff on Theta. When I first saw the Sony thing, I felt good about it, but seeing the price at where it is right now, I'm not ready to move into it. But it is one that's on the back of my mind. Is this something that you guys are watching for any particular reason, or what are your thoughts? Is this one going to be a dud?
Theta, thoughts?
Well, I don't really, personally, I think they kind of categorized it wrong to have it inside this rundown to begin with. But I know that Theta was making headways in the streaming industry. I think with rewarding participants and stuff along that line. I know that they had some pretty interesting collaborations or partnerships, and that there had been there. So not really anything that I had been really looking into, but the stuff that I do know about Theta, I've heard that people like it a lot.
Raise your hand if you have a Theta wallet.
Exactly.
So how's it
we
going to
were
be a
bullish as
leader in the
shit on it,
metaverse?
too.
How's it going to be a leader in the metaverse? It just can't.
Yeah. I mean, it might have missed its boat. It had the chance to really grasp it.
The coin could pump though, but it won't be a leader in the metaverse. If it coin pumps, it's because like insiders are probably pumping the token,
Right.
Or just got some good narrative where it'd be the next metaverse. But
Right. If Sony gave an update on them, you'd probably see a pretty good move.
yeah. But then it'd be like, who has a Theta wallet? So like, who's really interacting with Theta in a real way with a metaverse? It'd be zero people. It would pump off speculation, not off real utility.
Right. That's very
Now,
fair.
okay, Theta has the potential to be a really cool mix of what YouTube is and what Twitch is. Do you guys think a decentralized social network can take down YouTube?
Oh man, no.
I
they're
say
gonna-
no.
No, I think that there's going to have to be a marriage between the two if there's going to be any
Yeah,
connection at
it'll
all.
be an overlay like a Brave browser.
Right.
It'll be an overlay. It'll be like your decentralized YouTube.
Right.
If that kind of makes sense.
Just a plug-in, you can add it, kind of how we have MetaMask running on the top of any
You're
browser.
just not going to be able to beat YouTube.
Yeah, they
Period.
have a
You're
very
not going to be
strong.
able to beat Apple Music or Spotify. Period. And like we try to we really rely into ourselves. Like, yeah, man, it's a decentralized Spotify. It's just like the next bull run. It's going to be what we're all doing. No, it's not. No, you won't.
No.
How many people like to
Because-
listen to Taylor Swift? Guess what? You're not going to be able to listen to Taylor Swift on that unless it's some bootleg. And then why don't you just listen to the crisp, clear audio of Spotify or Apple Music?
They
'Cause
built
you
the
will.
rails. They have it built already. You're dead on with that. That's what my feeling is. I
Yeah.
agree completely with you. What do you think? You're heavy into social media and all that jazz. What do you think?
I agree. I think like if they see that that's something that works, or if they see that that's something that people want, Spotify or Apple Music will just integrate it. And then there's no
Yeah.
need for like a new person to emerge,
Yeah.
a new competitor.
There has to be a value there too. There has to be an incentive for YouTube or Spotify
Yeah.
to want to get involved. There's going to have to
has
be
to
some
be
kickback.
easy.
They're going to have to get their piece. This situation or the basically the rails for this social network and YouTube, it's taken years to build, and it's got a lot of people that are stuck. Just really like when I want to listen to a song, it's either Spotify or YouTube. I'm using one of the two. And I'm a musician. I'm all about helping artists when I can, but the easiest and quickest access to their content is on there.
Yeah, Drew, you're working on the weekend, you're around the house, you got your earbuds in,
Right.
and you just want to be able to hit play on your phone and then not have to touch your phone for 2 hours.
Right, I
And
have
that
to
is
lift
not
my
the
phone
case
up.
with any of these decentralized. Oh, I have the Trey Songz NFT album and the Kings of Leon, and
Right.
but they're on 2 different platforms, and I have this other NFT that's a song, and it's a third thing, and I'm having I'm hammering, I'm doing some drywall work, and I'll say, oh wait, I have to stop. I have to open up this app. Oh, I got to connect my wallet. Okay, now it's reading my NFT. Now I hit play, and now I put it back in my pocket. Oh, wait, I got to do that again in 3 minutes.
Right.
And
I
that's
would
not
never
what you
do
do
that.
with Spotify.
Never.
Until we can match
Yeah.
Spotify or Apple Music, it's not going to win. And if it's decentralized, we're probably not going to be. It's going to be too many chefs in the kitchen
Absolutely.
to make a meal that can compete with Gordon Ramsay.
Yep.
Now we're going to decentralize this risotto. It doesn't work.
Yeah, the interoperability is key, and I don't think that, as you said, decentralized as it continues to grow. I think there's going to be
Great point. If Joe Rogan was incentivized to go to Theta instead of Spotify, he would move. Exactly. But if Theta being decentralized, you'll never be able to come up with $100 million to pay him to move. Rumble, probably the number 1 competitor for YouTube. Their big thing, they just signed Andrew Tate and Nelk, and
Yep.
I think Steve will do it.
Yep.
But guess what? You know, if it was decentralized, they probably wouldn't be able to afford a Steve will do it. Why? Because it's all decentralized and we got to vote on it. And then it goes to this DAO. And then next, oh, guess what? Steve will do it's not even popular anymore.
Right.
Too late. We missed the vote.
Yeah, I'm not feeling great about Theta, but you know, it's got pumpamentals, so maybe in a confirmed uptrend, if it's still lagging behind and has a chance, I might grab a small high risk, high reward type attempt at it. Nothing I'm going to be writing home about or putting my big bags into. This one's interesting. What? Let's look at this one. Axie Infinity. Obviously, you know, Axie has fallen down pretty substantially. And what the price shows that the textbook example of V top and reversal. Look at this. Look at that.
They're done. They need a new coin.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like it's too deflation, like it's too inflated. Just too many people got assets like trying to earn. It's too many what are they called? They're called axies, right? The little things that they breed and stuff. It's too many of them out there. And so it's like you got way too many people that can earn that coin. And so just never not have crazy selling pressure. They'll have to come up with a new coin or a new way of I'll say it, a new Ponzi-nomic.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the greatest thing since sliced bread when we were in that time frame.
Because the game sucks.
When you saw that graph, is straight up. All of crypto Twitter was like, this thing is going to own, you know, the metaverse, online gaming, interoperability, and all this stuff, and that definitely did not happen. It's down 95.7%. You know, it's trading hands
It
at
only go up from here.
yeah, only
Joke.
it can always go
Fucking
lower. $7.05 right now, all-time high of $165. So that is an insane crash. I'm honestly going to be staying away from Axie. I think that it had its chance, and I feel like the gaming sector has a lot of things to hash out within itself on, even if, you know, what games. I have a hard time imagining a gamer wanting to spend money to be able to play a game or not be able to take an item that they bought in one game and transfer it over to another game.
Oh, you've never met pay to win.
Oh yeah? Is there some people out there you think it would do
Yes, there's so many
They-
people, but it's stupid.
Okay.
It's like a narrative that needs to change. Like I've talked to DZ about this a million times. It's so funny how much gamers hate NFTs, but they'll flood money into an asset that they have no control over and can't transfer from game to game.
that? Mhm.
Like,
Okay.
foolish, but people will do it.
Oh, yeah, it sounds like a nightmare to me. I'm not a huge gamer though myself, so you know, I honestly don't like pay super close attention to the gaming community and what their sentiment is about it. The closest I get is when we have guests from ATB on that have good gaming exposure to try to get their barometer on it.
Gods Unchained is a unique one because it is a card game, and Magic the Gathering has proven 30 years later you can make new cards that get people excited. It's a lot harder to do that with guns, or
Yeah.
cars, or basketball shorts that now have polka dots.
That's a
Oh,
good
they're
So
point.
with the card game, you can just continuously create assets. It's a lot harder with like, you know, Call of Duty. All right, yeah, it's a new AK skin. How many AK skins can you make where you're excited? How many new assault rifles? Okay, it's the 48th assault rifle. Like, okay, I get it. At this point, it's too much. But with Magic the Gathering and card games, it's a lot more open. And so, yeah, I am still bullish on Gods Unchained. I know
Me
I'm
too.
kinda, like,
And that game
crapping
was
all over
fun.
Play to earn.
It was super fun game.
Yeah,
Oh, my
they're
God.
releasing extra God rewards. Like just started 2-3 days ago. It's gonna last for a couple weeks. I thought about firing it up actually.
This is horrendous. Someone in the chat says that oh gosh, so SBF to be released on a $250 million bond bail. Tell his parent tied to his parents' house in Palo Alto. So that's nice. He gets to still use their real estate for his bail. That's fantastic. This is unconfirmed. I saw your message, Crypto Thorn. Thought we were over talking about this fuzzy-haired character, but here we are again. Cozied up with the infirmary in the Bahamas, and will now be cozied up at home. What the actual F? That's a mess.
I just would not be surprised at all if nothing happens to this man. Like,
Nothing. My God.
He'll be fine. Like I don't know. I don't know. We'll see.
But it is bail. I mean, he's posting bail. It's crazy that, you know, I mean, we haven't gone
They're
down the
gonna use
real.
customer funds to pay bail.
Yeah, I mean that's what's right. It's how are you paying for this bill?
I wonder if it's in the omnibus bill. It's about to
Oh
pass.
my God! They just wanted him home for Christmas. You guys
Literally.
are right. They just definitely wanted him home.
The price
for
of his
Christmas.
bail was worked in.
Oh
He's
my-
Jewish, Drew.
What did I say about that?
They
Oh,
want him home
Christmas.
for Christmas.
Oh.
He celebrates Hanukkah.
Oh my gosh. Am I canceled?
No, they wanted him home for Hanukkah.
Okay. Is the feed still on?
No.
Pizza
Press
strength.
+1 if the feed's still
You-
going
you
on.
missed it by a few days.
Yeah, they might have shut
I
me
thought we were
down.
talking about Festivus.
Is that all right? Back. I'm gonna get back on track here because that's a
Yeah,
mess.
same.
They better do their job, or voting will happen in other ways than at the polls. Decentraland mana. Now, yeah,
Bearish.
we have a steady downfall from November. Mana price turned down from an all-time high of $5.90 and slumped 94%. Another 94%er. RSI indicator reflects a strength of price movement. Is dumped to the oversold region. So they're saying this thing is oversold, that there's no selling pressure. But man, there's been some pretty bearish news on Decentraland lately. I think it was obviously like a month ago, there was like 30 or 39 users that were tied
All
in.
of
Yeah,
them devs
daily.
testing out the new thing they just
Literally.
built.
That's the employees to the actual, ecosystem at that point. But they tried to dispel it, like, those 39 were people that were actually interacting with the blockchain, not
They're
just
done.
on their plane.
They're done.
It's dead.
Yeah.
No one's
Yeah.
going to play that 2 years from now.
I
Zero
100%
people.
It
agree.
looks terrible.
Only people playing it are people lying to themselves that if I play it, my mana token will pump. They won't have
Right.
that thought, but they have a bag of mana. And they're like, this is fun. And they're lying to themselves.
Yeah, the gameplay on that was so bad, it made me super bullish on the ET Atari game. I'm just saying.
Did it? Okay.
Deep
Yeah.
cut
Hey.
reference.
I watched
The tour.
my wife wanted to figure out the game, so she hopped on there, and I was like, there's no way that this thing should have been acting the way it did as far as its price action, because it was just
It just-
horrendous.
Yeah, it's just heck.
It's hectic.
Doesn't look
It's really bad graphics. Obviously, there's not many users right now. We're in a bear market. You could expect that, but 39 people tied into the blockchain at a given time, that is super bad look for. I mean, it was billions of dollars in market cap, and you got, maybe a couple dozen people using it. That's an issue, in my opinion. So as far as NFTs go, I kind of want to look at this. We have NFT God. I follow him every now and again. He's pretty cool.
Oh, he's great for threads.
Yeah,
One of the best threads on
He's got a
crypto
pretty
Twitter.
balanced view of it, which I appreciate. Like, you don't want to have everything going to the moon always, because there's always a time where you're wrong. But 6 Twitter predictions for 23. Creator monetization introduced. The first Twitter millionaires are born. That's an interesting take. Crypto and NFTs are fully integrated. That's a heavy call. Bots are killed. Video integrated into Spaces. An email-style DM app launched. And Elon's $44 billion investment looks genius.
Man,
So-
I have a hard time going out on a limb and saying any of those are not going to come true.
Yeah. You feel like this is pretty
I feel like
accurate?
they all have a pretty good shot.
Yeah. Okay.
The bots, killing the bots, it seems kind of hard, but
That's the one that kind of stuck out to me. That would be super great if it did. Very bullish for humanity and not letting people get openly rug pulled in the digital public square in front of everyone to see. Creator monetization introduced, and the first Twitter millionaires are born. I could definitely see that happen.
Greg, I don't want to say deserves it, but I don't mind Greg being a millionaire from Twitter. He's very
Right.
funny. He's given me a lot of pleasure.
Right.
So I
Yeah.
know some of the advertising dollars that Twitter has earned is directly a result of me looking at Greg's feed.
Right. And Twitter is where a lot of, I know we're kind of in our echo chamber right in crypto Twitter, but there's tons of really good forefront information. Like, the news is usually front ran by Twitter posts, and the news is referencing Twitter posts often, so they're like, when NBC said they were going to leave Twitter, I told them, no, you're not. You come here to know what to write about. You know what I mean? Like, the interaction on Twitter has hit all-time highs when Elon Musk took over. Whoa, DZ got pleasured by Greg. Thoughts?
DZ and Greg.
He's a fast typer, so you don't know what those hands can do.
Ooh.
Another
Wow.
deep reference. That was an
Bullish.
SBF reference.
Oh my
FTX
God.
bought him a Tesla if he could type a certain amount of words per minute.
Really? Okay. Well, man,
Now, AI will kill bots, but can't that same AI make a bot that's indetectable by a different AI? And so, like, it's all going to be parameters like human beings can only type so many words per minute. They can only type on so many, send out so many replies per second. They'll just go right under that. Like, okay, anything that's doing more than 4 tweets a minute, we know is a bot. It'd probably be closer to 10.
Yeah.
They'll just go one number under.
It'll be harder
It'll
to
just
notice.
be less effective bots.
Okay. That would still be nice, to see their power go away a little bit. Video integrated into spaces, that's kind of a given for me, I would think. I mean, I know we're doing the live streams daily on Twitter, but yeah, I mean, that seems like something that's pretty obvious. And the email style DM app launching, so like almost like a Twitter Messenger is what he's kind of pointing out to you. Do you see something like that coming?
Yeah, Messenger sucks, right?
Yeah.
Like it does kind of suck.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's one of the complaints. I can see that being retooled.
Nice. I like it. Yeah, I mean, like everyone looked at Elon like he was crazy for buying Twitter. He's at minimum got a great evidence vault, and at maximum he's got a potential to, open up a entire new Web3 experience for social media. He's got experience in it. He knows the right people to do it. If there's one person I think could do it in the short term, it would be him. So I think that it's a pretty good move, honestly. But yeah, I mean, like basically, do you use Twitter quite often, Hannah? What do you is Twitter going to be the King Kugla because of this move?
The King Kuvla?
Are they going to beat out Facebook?
Because of Elon?
Yeah. Is he going to change this thing enough?
I think he's very motivated and he's acting very quickly. And I like watching. I think it's interesting to watch, and for all the information to be like relatively public, it's cool to see. And he's interacting with everybody. I mean, in my opinion, yeah, it's going to be a competitor for sure.
I like it. So to recap on the Metaverse tokens, really I'm only paying attention personally to ApeCoin. I'm looking at Theta for its fundamentals. The one I feel
Theta has fundamentals.
Yeah, but the one that I feel like best about, moving into once I have that confirmed time frame, I'll obviously be talking to Taco. I want to find out when that staking program is stopped out to figure out kind of that time frame. But those are the 2 out of the 5 that I would say are worth watching. That's obviously just my personal opinion, not financial advice, clearly. But yeah, I mean, I think that this all is going to blow over. In hindsight, we're going to be thankful that we had enough time to accumulate during the 23 time frame. As long as you're out there staying aggressive on making money continuously, either finding options in the dividends sector, an excellent option, creating new forms of income, super effective at having dry powder for when that time does come. And so I think just focusing, being prepared, and knowing that there is going to be a slow grind for 2023 is going to be super important to make really, and set your goals on what it's going to take to get into real estate, what it's going to take to own assets. And, as we watch our elected leaders do what they may, I don't know if you guys can read this. Can you read this for me? Let me just show my shirt here for a sec. I wore a special shirt. It's Christmas sweater day. But buy a man, eat fish, the day, teach man to a lifetime, by our great leader. I don't know if he actually said this or not, but I like to wear it around and just get people thinking objectively. So I thank you guys for joining us on this show. And I'm sorry to have to make you, think about what he said, but
the kids and the leg hair. I rub my leg hair.
I just had to do it. It's my favorite t-shirt.
No, I know cockroaches.
Are we raiding someone, BJ? Is Hit Network Gaming going?
We only raid the deserving.
I don't know. You guys seem to like Hit Network Gaming. He seems to be screaming about you all the time in the next room. Let's give him a raid. Fix your bayonets.
Go say what up to Joel.
Yeah.
He's probably playing Fortnite or
Fool
marbles.
me twice.
He's playing
I think he's
Fortnite.
playing
Won't get fooled
marbles.
again.
Marbles.
He loves some marbles.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is
that's
it really marbles?
Yeah. 'cause
I don't
he
know,
did.
do you
Plug
see he'll
his computer
freak
if it's
out.
marbles.
Will
He's
you
just gonna
watch?
raid.
Marbles sucks.
Yeah.
Marbles. All right, get on there and let him know. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Love you.
Bye.